Hi, welcome to Gear Garage. My name is Zach. This is my show about whitewater things. And I'm here today with my friend Jeremiah from Sotar. Jeremiah is the COO of Sotar, but really kind of just runs the place. And so, yeah, pretty much. And I just want to ask you some questions about like Sotar, like about the company, and a little bit about the boats.
Sure.
So first of all, like when did Sotar start and why?
Well, they started back in 1980. My father, Glenn Lumen, was working at Sharp's Tarps in Grants Pass. They make truck tarps, stuff like that, PVC stuff. And he was a boater and couldn't get any of the gear he liked. So he started making dry bags and throw bags and just random stuff and just hated the boats that he could get. So he learned to weld and source some old military valves and tried to make his first boats, and they floated, and people were like, hey, I like that. Can I get one of those? And just kind of spitballed from there. But
I know the company's called Whitewater Manufacturing, right? So is that the official corporate name and the brand is Sotar?
Yeah, so it originally was Whitewater Manufacturing when he started doing dry bags and other just accessory stuff. And then Sotar is state-of-the-art raft, and that is the rafting branch of the business. But everyone just knows it's a Sotar.
I mean, I only know you from Whitewater Manufacturing because it's stamped on some old dry bags I have.
Nice.
And what sets you guys apart is using urethane, the material urethane. Why urethane? What are the advantages? And why would somebody get a Sotar because of urethane?
So urethane is a pretty large umbrella term for a whole series of chemicals. The benefit of a urethane over most other plastics is it's going to be...
when you say plastics, would that be like PVC?
Yes, PVC.
So plastics would be PVC and urethane. Rubber, like Typalon typically thought of as rubber.
Right, yeah, so technically there's two branches of what's called polymers, so large molecule chains, and Hypalon or synthetic rubbers are thermosets, meaning epoxy, meaning they don't melt, so you can't weld them. PVC and urethane are both thermoplastics, so you can weld them. So that's really the defining factor, is if they melt or they burn, basically.
So you have to, sorry to interrupt, but so like if it's a Hypalon boat, and a Hypalon boat would be like a high side or some NRS boats, and what used to be Avon, you have to glue those.
Yes.
Where like urethane or PVC, you can weld them, and welding's better because it basically it's just, it's not, there's no glue, it's just like the fabric.
Yeah, it's just like welding metals. You're literally melting the two surfaces together and they're mixing and becoming one. So there's no other thing that can be eaten up by bacteria or can, you're not going to have temperature differences which can cause shrinkage and expansion differently for two different materials. So it's just better in the long run for that. And it's easier to get more consistent in manufacturing. Because you can set a temperature and you can weld consistently, whereas gluing, it's like who's doing the gluing that day.
Or like batch of glue. That's an issue I had. I bought boats where there was a bad batch and the boats fell apart. 2006 Avon, that was not their best year. Anyway, so tell us about the advantages of urethane.
So because it's a thermoplastic, it not only melts and bonds really well, but it can flow at the melting temperature. And urethane is really nice because it has a really wide range at which it melts before it starts decomposing under temperature. So I can weld it and get it to flow into all the nooks and crannies and seal things up really well. The other benefit is that it's flexible over a wider temperature range. So I can get a boat in Alaska or in Mexico and it's going to perform just about the same. You don't want to necessarily roll a boat super tight if it's in frigid conditions because it's a bit stiffer, but in general.
Performance-wise and durability-wise, what are the advantages of Sotar?
A couple things. First is the urethane we use that's different from conventional urethanes is chemically it's called aliphatic. Basically, there aren't the type of chemical bonds that break down under UV. So it holds its color better for longer. It doesn't crack as much over time. Things like that. The other benefit is
so those are durability things.
Durability things.
And I would have to say urethane in generally everybody says urethane is the most durable fabric. That's a good rule. I agree. That's a good rule.
The benefit you're going to have. So I mean, PVC, just like out of like your water pipes, it's a rigid plastic. So they have to add plasticides and all kinds of chemicals to make it soft. When those are usually pretty small molecules, they leach out and they get in the water, the air, and then it becomes, I'm not sure if you've ever had a PVC boat that just starts cracking everywhere.
I'm not a fan, but
that's kind of the point.
I mean, if we were comparing urethane to PVC, which is a route we're kind of headed down right now.
Sure.
Like PVC boats cost a lot less.
Yes.
But they're not going to be as durable. So over the long term of the boat, like you're going to buy a couple boats in the time of one.
Yeah.
One urethane boat.
And the
I don't want to badmouth PVC
no,
boats.
it's great.
There's a lot of good boats.
So,
but, like,
so for example, if we're strictly talking manufacturing, to buy a similar like denier, like strength of fabric in polyester, it's like in PVC, it's like a third the cost.
Yeah.
So that's why the boats are about a third the cost.
Yeah.
It's like literally just the material cost.
Yeah.
But the so they don't last as long. So it's like, okay, it's really the same. When you pencil it out, it's almost the same price per river mile kind of thing. You're just buying more boats.
Yeah.
The problem is the PVC doesn't have as good abrasion resistance, and when I've run PVC boats in the past, I can never really get them as stiff. And I first like to run my boat stiff.
Yeah.
So
some others. So puncture resistance.
Yes.
Hitting a rock.
Abrasion resistance.
Definitely, like urethane's way better, and also they're lighter.
Yeah.
That's one thing I've noticed. If you carry a PVC boat versus a urethane boat, the urethane boat's just easier to carry. So those are a lot of like durability things. And like, what about on river? Why would you want, like, why is Sotar better on river? Why do you like a stiffer boat?
So I personally like a stiffer boat because anytime that you're putting energy into the water and it's transferring to move the boat, that's just wasted energy.
Man, that is science. I mean, straight up, that's how I feel at oars too. When the oar bends, you're losing energy. And some people are like, no, I like the flex in the field of the river.
As long as it responds elastically, so it's like a spring. If it springs back 100%, you're fine. But you're right in the sense of, if I got a frame strapped down to my boat and I row and like my straps aren't tight and my frame is moving, that's just 20%
but
of your...
the boat bending, you're losing energy.
Totally, because all the force you're putting in is going to the boat, not to the water.
Okay. And what are other performance things?
For me personally, I love how slippery the aliphatic urethane is. It's really easy to slide over rocks, and instead of hitting a rock and then getting bunched and then getting a puncture, it'll just slide over. Okay. So that's a huge benefit. And then, like I said, I like my boats being stiff. Our boats I wouldn't say are the stiffest on the market. We're trying to hit a butter zone where it's not so...
There's boats that are more stiff than these?
I have seen some old wings that are pretty darn stiff. The difference is...
They have a new fabric
that
is stupidly stiff.
Really?
It feels like a hard shell kayak. It's crazy. But being that stiff makes it... I mean, when it gets... The disadvantage of stiff, as I feel, that it makes boats flip more. Like once it starts going, it likes to really go. Where if it has a little bit of give...
Yeah, if you have a force being applied to the bottom and then it starts moving and you have more weight on that side and the boat can just sink more that side. Yeah. That makes sense. But like we're trying to hit a butter zone of like it's not so stiff that you can actually roll the boat. Yeah. But also
like roll it up at the end of the day.
Yeah, so if you're done with it. And then the real issue is in engineering terms it's called toughness. So how much energy can something absorb before it fails? So the reason why we chose a polyester instead of a nylon is it doesn't have as good of a break strength, but it absorbs more energy before failure. So if it hits something, it's going to cushion it instead of just being rigid and then fail.
Oh yeah, because if it's so tight, once it hits it, it's not going to bend at all. It's just going to
it's like a beam versus a spring.
Yeah, I love that you get science.
Oh, it's my background.
Like not everybody plays science in the boating world. You're like, oh, the science applies to this.
You gotta test it though.
So I just want to recap some things that I think are pluses of Sotar. They're more durable. They're more puncture resistance. They're stiffer if you like a stiffer boat, and they slide over rocks better. Yeah, because the fabric's slipperier. Right. Which the downside people say is like they also might slide off the boat themselves. Yeah. But I know you add some shape to it sometimes.
Yeah, that's always recommended. We'll do a urethane shape that's rolled on with a paint roller. Yeah. So it makes texture to it, so you stick a bit easier. Always recommend that. And then the last thing,
the custom. The one thing you guys do that you're custom 100%. In terms of like custom colors and custom designs. Do you want to talk about that really quick?
Yeah, so I've been running the show here for a little over 2.5 years, and I have never seen a standard boat. so
every boat is basically
every boat is custom. The only reason you might buy a boat that's not exactly what you want if we have one on the shelf. Everyone at least changes the colors. Handle placement, deeming placement, valve placement, dimensions, all that stuff has changed.
That's an insane amount of work.
Oh yeah.
Like I think that would be, to me.
And I do all the CAD.
If I ran a Sotar personally, I'd be like, hey guys, here's your 4 boats, pick one. Like there's 3 colors. I would keep things simple. You guys have, it's so much work to talk to people about their boat and make it perfect for them.
Yeah, and then it's a constant sales process.
Yeah.
You're always, I mean, they put the deposit in to lock in their build date.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, you know what? I think I want that one thing green.
Yeah.
And you got to catch it before it gets to production. And
then people can also design their tubes. Like I want bigger tubes, smaller tubes. Do people ever like send you an email and they like give you all their ideas and then they see the boat and they're like, oh man, actually that's kind of weird.
We do 2 things. Yes, that happens sometimes. And if it is something that we can resell, like it's not so off the wall that it's not going to function, then we're willing to kind of rebuild the boat for the customer and then sell that other boat as stock.
That's crazy. But you can't just like, they have to pay for some of that boat, right?
Yeah. So
you can't just be like, oh, you don't like that custom boat we made for you, we'll make you a different custom boat. You have to like, they take a financial hit.
It depends on the customer. You know, we've got a lot of really premier outfitters like you that want something really specific, and we try to dial it in.
Yeah.
The next thing that we're doing is everything is modeled in SolidWorks. So if you have a wild design, we'll do a 3D mock-up of it.
Oh, so you'll see it.
Yeah. So
that's cool.
SolidWorks has a really cool software. It's free to download called eDrawings. So you want to design a boat, I can mock it up. Send you a link, you download this thing, then you can open up the boat and rotate it and play with it and see what it looks like.
That's super cool.
So that helps a lot. That's kind of taking over that boat builder we had.
Yeah.
So people can individually see what their boat's going to look like.
And with the boats, with the designs, you do have stock models, right? It's the ST and the SL.
Yes.
Well, I still don't even know the difference between ST and SL. Do you want to explain it to me again?
Yeah, so the easiest way is ST is standard.
Okay.
So it's a regular raft, the same tube diameter all the way around.
Okay.
It's straight sections are the one long piece, just like any conventional raft you'll see on the market. The SL is the diminishing tube.
Okay.
So the difference between the SL and a lot of diminishing tubes in the market is the technical term is a oblique truncated cone. So instead of it being
I love science. I love these terms. This makes me so happy. Like you are speaking like all right. I love this so much. I don't know what that means, but I love it.
So basically imagine a cone where the top circle and bottom circle, the centers are off, set from each other. So it's like a slanted cone and you cut the top off. And we do that so that we can have the top, and we're sitting on an SL right now actually.
Yeah.
So the top of the boat is flat and the inside of the boat is flat. So it's a straight line so it fits a frame. But then the outside curves and the bottom curves.
Okay.
So that makes it a smaller footprint on the water, so the boat turns quicker. And we can have the tubes diminish more, and we're not losing that much in buoyancy because we have such a fat tube in the middle to hold some of the weight. The downside of that is it's a bigger tube, so it's more cross-sectional area, more dragging water. It's a slower boat in the straight line.
Yeah, and it probably doesn't track that well.
It doesn't track as well, no. But it turns so much easier.
Yeah.
So I always tell people like, hey, what are you after? If you're doing lots of like little creaky stuff and you want to turn and make your slots really easy, SL is a great option. Oh, you want a boat that's gonna ride up over waves and be a little splashier and a little bit more, playful if it's like a class 3 or whatever kind of river. Yeah. SL is a great.
I mean, this is where I might disagree with you a little bit.
Sure.
I don't feel like on creeks you should have diminishing tubes. That's just my opinion. I think that diminishing tubes personally, I think they're generally useless. And that's a strong statement, I know.
Right.
Unless you want to put more people, like it gives you more room to put people in the front and the back, or I can see for fishing. But I just feel like the ST, a normal tube diameter around, I feel like for running whitewater,
sure,
it's huge. But everybody, then some people say no, you want the diminishing tubes to like punch through waves and things. And
there's and honestly, there's so many opinions out there, and the products are so expensive to build. Yeah. There's just not a lot of. I mean, ideally we get a bunch of different boats and have the control, go to one rapid and test them over and over again and get all the data.
We talked about that a few months ago. We had the same discussion actually a few months ago that we should go take 2 boats and I love the data.
Churn it. You got to.
We gotta do more data, more science in boating. I love it so much.
For me personally, the only reason why I would choose an SL over an ST is if you're getting essentially a higher rake without sacrificing the visibility, because the bottom of the tube is smaller.
You mean seeing, like you visit.
Yeah, so if I'm in the boat, I'm looking over to see the whitewater.
You can see more.
Because the top of the tube on the SL and the top of the tube on the ST are the same level.
Yeah.
But the SL in the front is smaller diameter, so the distance from the bottom
So
to
you get the same,
water.
you get the same kick or rake, or
Yeah.
whatever it's called, but you can see better. Yeah, and my thing is like, if I think of going over a waterfall, I want as much tube up there as I can. I want
Sure.
to drop.
That
I
extra
want
buoyancy is gonna be a more
I want
of a
surface
reactionary force.
Yeah, and so I want as much tube up there as I can. Also, when you go over, if there's a lot of tube, it won't turn. If it's like small tube, it's more likely to take a turn to one side or the other.
That makes sense. Okay. It's
But
okay.
anyway, we're getting off to other topics than Sotar. So
No worries.
but yeah, Jeremiah, thanks for joining me. And yeah,
Definitely.
if you guys have any questions for Jeremiah, he'll probably watch this at some point.
Yeah.
Put them in the comments below, or just shoot him a call at Sotar. And
Yeah, just
and,
Jeremiah at sotar.com.
Yep.
Just shoot me an email.
Yep.
I'm always good for it.
Yep. Thanks for joining us.